Well, thank you all for joining us today. Welcome to the AFC Virtual Travel Show on small ship experiences and wonderful cruises throughout our amazing opportunities in Europe. Today I'm going to go in depth about our entire lineup of cruises from the early parts of the year and our April departures with Normandy, which you can see as part of this picture in front of you. This is Etretat and the beautiful cliffs out on the coastline of Normandy. Right before we work our way out to the D-Day beaches, as well getting into the Holland Tulips. There are limited spaces available on that cruise, so I do want to mention that ahead of time. And then getting into the fall and some of our wonderful charters in the Christmas season, so late November, early December. So we'll get started here. I wanted to bring attention to this program because it is a really impactful way of travel. I think Matt Kennel, our president, and myself would agree that this is probably our favorite way of travel, our favorite method of travel when it comes to exploring the world. Getting to unpack your suitcase, settle into a wonderful newer ship, and experience the rivers of Europe, getting to dock close to the big cities as well, overseeing these wonderful meals, these wonderful destinations as well. So there's a lot of benefits to them. A couple of details about AFC Vacations, who we are and what we do. We offer worldwide tours and cruises, all different travel styles, both domestic, international, different modes of transportation. As I mentioned, we do some ocean cruises with a couple of our ocean cruise partners. We offer train tours, both in Europe as well domestically, and also now that new Japan bullet train, which is an exciting departure and very, very successful already. As well, our land tours by motor coach, and then over into Europe. I mentioned our European river cruises. We'll get into that today. Now, what's included with an AFC tour? First and foremost, we show you round-trip airfare, and that's from a number of gateways, primarily on the western half of the U.S. But if you are flying from the eastern U.S., if you're traveling with friends or family members that want to join you on the trips from other parts of the country, they can still do so. We can coordinate their air as well. And then we also have a wonderful team of tour managers. They do a great job describing the destinations, the experiences, and they really go above and beyond for your experience. We do offer home pickup. That's one of the great benefits to traveling with AFC is we pick you up at your home, take you to the airport, and bring you back at the end of the trip. And it makes the travel process so much simpler. We also offer a home pickup credit. So if you choose to use Uber or Lyft or make your own way to the airport with friends or family members, we take $100 off of your final payment at the end. So either great transfer to the airport and back or a credit of $100. Now, what the company really stands for is real people and real service, and we've been in business since 1982. So for those folks that have traveled with us and continue to come back, we greatly appreciate you. If you haven't traveled with us before, please give us the opportunity to show you the world in our way. We are affordable first-class vacations and really strive to provide a great experience around the world. We also provide consumer protection as part of the US TOA, and that's the United States Tour Operators Association. So as partner with them, we put in a bond of several $million to protect your investments. So if for any reason the company went through insolvency, your funds are protected. Your deposits, travel insurance, as well as final payments are all protected under that US TOA bond. Some of the great values we do offer, first is our risk-free deposits. And so making your deposit and any cancellations prior to final payment up to 90 days, there's no loss to you. So what you would do is you'd get a future travel credit for any cancellation fee, deposit, or travel insurance if you did have to cancel up till 90 days when final payment is due. So a great way to still be able to travel. You don't lose anything up front, and you can use that travel credit within a year. We also provide our Travelers Club, and that is a great loyalty program for the folks that come back every single year doing multiple trips with us. And if you book a 2025 tour or European river cruise, you're automatically enrolled and will receive a $100 credit off your next tour or European river cruise and each trip thereafter. So the loyalty credit is valid for a period of 18 months. So you book your first trip, and if you book a second within that 18-month window, you're automatically receiving that $100 loyalty credit on that second trip. Now, one of the ways we've grown as a company is we started as a very small organization in San Diego. We've been there ever since 1982. And people told their friends and family members about us. And they've started taking trips with us. And that's how we've extended travelers from San Diego all the way out to Washington, D.C. and everywhere in between. So if you do tell your friends or family members about AFC and they do take a trip with us, your next tour, as long as they mention your name, will be $100 off after they travel. We also provide an early booking savings. And how that works is it applies to the first 40 travelers who book on a departure. So specific departure dates, the first 20 receive the largest discount, up to $100 off domestic and international trips, and up to $200 off on our European river cruises. For our second group, the 21st through 40th traveler still saves money, about $75 off the domestic international and up to $100 off on our European river cruises. And you would just pay your final payment by check and being within that first 20 to 40 to book. Getting into what these programs really are all about and the benefits of small ships cruising with AFC. So these ships generally handle anywhere from about 110 to 160 travelers. And this is a much different experience than going on those big ocean liners that have 3, 4, 5,000 people on board, and you're fighting for dinner reservations, you're working around the activities, trying to make time for everything. With our European river cruises and the small ship experience, you don't have to fight the crowds. You're broken down into generally about 3 different groups when you go out to tour. So you're not walking around with 150 people all at once. And they also provide a whisper headset on board. And those headsets are provided so you can hear the guides clearly. You know if you're getting too far away from the guides, and it is a really great benefit so that you get the information and you understand the destination as you travel. There's also a benefit in unpacking on these cruises, getting to settle in for your 7-night cruises or 6 nights for the holiday season, and really getting to enjoy the vacation itself. And so coming back to your stateroom where everything's unpacked, you're able to get to what you need relatively quickly and then head out for your excursions each day really does provide a wonderful environment. Also with our excursions, we generally have the majority of our excursions included. A couple are optional throughout the programs with the exception of the Douro, where we have 8 excursions included. One is pick your own adventure. And so really great all-inclusive sightseeing in many areas. Then on board the ship each night after dinner, there are musicians on board. They have performances. They play games in the lounge, whether that's trivia or other activities. And then just gathering as a group and getting to enjoy a drink in the lounge and having a good time at night is always an enjoyable opportunity. We also provide our own tour directors on board the ships, which are English speaking, and the charters themselves, where we buy out the entire ship on each of these departures, really provide a great environment to feel comfortable as an English speaker. We provide free Wi-Fi on each of the ships, and then we also incorporate hand-selected wine, draft beer, and soft drinks that are included at all of our dinners. I do want to note that the Douro River Cruise has separate benefits. It's with a different charter company, and they offer a beer and wine package for the full day. And then in the evenings around 6 o'clock, they open that up to spirits and the cocktail of the day. And speaking of drinks and food, one of the best ways to travel is to try local cuisine, and you get to do so on board these ships. They have wonderful meals prepared by their excellent chefs in the kitchen on board the ship. They have a wonderful breakfast buffet available to you and an earlier riser breakfast for folks who like to get up early and drink their coffee and have something to snack on beforehand. And then lunch is generally a buffet and provides all sorts of specialties in the restaurant. Again, you're not fighting crowds for this buffet. You have smaller groups, so that makes it much, much simpler. On board the ship as well, generally around 4 o'clock, they have afternoon snacks, and that's everything from sandwiches, pastries, and everything in between. And then for our dinners on board the ships, they are wonderful multi-course meals with your choice of entree. They have standard entrees that are available each and every night, and then they rotate their primary entrees to give you a great choice and variety of meals. And so this is a wonderful, relaxing sit-down experience, very similar to the European meals of an hour and a half, 2 hours of enjoyable conversations with your table mates, friends, family members, and some new travelers as well. Getting to know new people is one of the benefits of taking these cruises. Talking about a couple of programs we still have remaining for 2025. The first is our Holland Windmills and Rhine River Castles. And this program runs the Rhine River from Amsterdam down to Basel. It's a beautiful stretch and amazing areas of sightseeing. And we board the Amadeus Star after one night in Amsterdam. So we fly into Amsterdam and spend the first night there in a hotel in the city. And then what we'll work our way out to is we'll board the Amadeus Star, which is a wonderful newer ship out right behind the train station in Amsterdam. And we'll also incorporate an Amsterdam city tour and canal cruise. Those are kind of conjoined, as the canal cruise is the best way to see the city in Amsterdam with all those smaller canals and bike paths. So we avoid those, and we get to enjoy that cruise experience, getting to see the architecture and some of the stunning settings. Then we work our way out and head off into Cologne. And Cologne is one of the most amazing German cities. It's beautiful cathedral as well, working our way out to a great beer tasting on the route. From Cologne, we'll head into Koblenz, and this is one of the oldest cities in Germany. So really incredible history, a Roman history as well. And then off onto a smaller river, the Moselle. Now, one of the great aspects of the Moselle is as we cruise, you're going to see vineyards and wonderful landscape all the way. And we work our way over to the town of Kokum on this, and that's where we'll do a walking tour and wine tasting. And so we'll do a tour of the town with a local guide, and then we also get to visit Reichsburg Castle, and that sits up on the hill overlooking the city. And we'll tour the castle itself. Right across the river from the city is a wonderful little wine cellar that we get to enjoy, and the wine maker talks us through the entire process of their wines and the specific regional specialties. From Kokum, we'll continue down to Rudesheim. It's a lovely little town with great little alleyways and shopping, and they're also known for a specialty coffee. And then our stop in Mannheim is for an optional tour out to the Heidelberg Castle, and that's a wonderful setting we'll get to work our way out to on this cruise. From there, it's down to Speyer, and that is a beautiful little German town, wonderful setting with a beautiful reddish cathedral and the orangish red stone from a nearby mountain. And then we wrap up with our last big activity of a city tour in Strasbourg. And Strasbourg is known as the bordering town of the river, right on the edge of France and Germany. It sits on the French side now, but over its history, it's been babbled back and forth and held by both countries. So it's a really unique setting and multicultural as well. And then we wrap up the cruise experience in Basel. Basel is north end of Switzerland, and we get to work our way out to Zurich to fly home. You can also extend this program and stay in Lucerne for 2 nights at the end, and that incorporates a Basel city tour and a city tour in Lucerne. So again, this one heads out October 12th of this year, 9 days and 20 meals included. Another cruise that's still available for this year is our Highlights of the Douro with Spain, and that departs November 3rd and 10th of 2025. We have a great lineup of programs on this cruise, and we were able to add 2 dates for 2026 as well. This is also one of my favorite programs when it comes to landscape and getting to see the valley of the Douro. And I'll show you some photos in just a minute on that, but I'll walk you through the program as it plays out. So we start with round-trip airfare into Porto, and Porto is a wonderful coastal city with beautiful bridges and a wonderful water channel as we start our experience there. We'll do a city tour in Porto, get a chance to see the beautiful stock exchange building and one of the local churches, which is just incredible. And then we actually get to enjoy a wonderful dinner out at a quinta. And so one of the great aspects of this program as well, We do offer a pre-night extension to Lisbon if you wanted to add that on the front end, and that's 2 nights in the city of Lisbon at a wonderful hotel. And what we do from there is we do a city tour. We have some time at leisure in Lisbon after the city tour. And then en route to the ship, we also make our way out to Fatima and Nazaré. Nazaré is a coastal city, home of some of the largest waves and surfing competitions in the world. And then Fatima is a major, major pilgrimage site. So incredible cathedral and main square throughout that city. And we'll stop in both locations on the way to Porto. That'll be 2 days prior to the ship. But on board the ship, we have a lot of great amenities. There's a great sun deck on the top level that you get to relax, sit in a lounge chair. They have shuffleboard and all sorts of activities on board. And then the rooms themselves, a couple of images of the suites. And these are amazing rooms, very well maintained, very spacious. And so these have a sliding glass door where you can actually sit out on your balcony and get to enjoy the passing by scenery as you enjoy a glass of wine. It's a really wonderful way to travel. And the suites are generally the first ones to sell out. We also have categories A, B, and C, which are similar structures with sliding doors that open to a railing. So you get fresh air in the cabin. Those are around 180 square feet. And then categories E and D are a fixed picture window, about 170 square feet. And again, if you're looking for the lowest cost for this experience, the categories E and D are your best bet. Getting a chance to see the valley is probably a big highlight for most folks. And that's because of these terraced vineyards. And these stretch for miles and miles along the Douro. This is a major wine growing region of Europe. And it's very well known for its Porto, the main dessert wines that they produce, but also for great reds and whites of standard varietals. So a really wonderful opportunity to see the scenery. We get to cruise a lot during this program. It's a great mix of both activities and excursions, along with time on board to relax and enjoy the sightseeing. And one of the great stops we do on this trip is going to a quinta, and this is Quinta de Pacheca. And what they do is a wonderful wine tasting in conjunction with a great dinner. So on board this cruise, we have 2 fantastic meals off of the ship, both at quintas, which are basically like hotels with wineries. And so you're able to walk around the vineyards, get a little bit of a background history of the vineyard itself from the winemakers and from the local staff. And then we have a fantastic meal at the site at the quinta that are producing wines as we speak. And so we get some fantastic wines, some great food in this experience. We continue cruising and make our way out to the city of Salamanca. Salamanca is a fantastic city in Spain, and this is where we'll get to tour for a full day. We'll have a local guide with us, and they'll take us through the Plaza Mayor, which is seen in the upper left-hand corner. We also get to see one of the oldest universities dating back to 1218, and that's a UNESCO World Heritage Site in the University of Salamanca. And then the major cathedral in town also dates to the 1200s. That's pictured in the right-hand side, and we'll get a chance to tour each of those sites. We'll also do a lunch while we're in Salamanca, and that incorporates a wonderful flamenco dance show. So we enjoy a great meal as well as getting entertained along the way. And that afternoon, we'll come back into the city center and have some time at leisure so you can explore on your own. The next day, we'll work our way out for a lunch at another quinta, and that's Quinta Avisada. This is an amazing location that produces also a number of different styles of wines. And we do a great lunch and wine tasting in our time there. So you get a chance to try some local wines in this region, a slight variation to the other quinta, and a lunch included. In our time on this cruise as well, we'll visit Castelo Rodrigo, and that is a walled castle that's up on the hillside overlooking the Douro Valley, and we'll get a chance to tour there as well. And this is just an amazing experience to take in. This is probably top 2 or 3 cruises that I've done in Europe as a whole. Great wine experiences. We'll get a chance to taste port wine as well, and then working our way back into Porto at the end of this cruise experience. We visit the town of Lamego, and that sits up on the hillside as well with a beautiful chapel and all sorts of fantastic blue and white tiles that we'll see there. And then our last day, our last full day, is a optional between two great sightseeing and experiences. One is the town of Guimarães, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a beautiful town with amazing architecture. And the other is a port wine tasting. So if you're really into wines, that's a great experience to take in. Again, this one heads out both 2025, November 3rd and 10th, and then in 2026, November 2nd and 9th. Getting into our 2026 programs, Normandy, Paris, and the Seine. This is probably the top cruise I've ever done. One, because of my love of World War II history, but also the scenery and beautiful cities that we get to visit. And that starts with Paris. So we'll fly into Paris on April 7th. We'll land April 8th. We depart the U.S. April 7th. And we board the Amadeus Diamond for a 7-night cruise up the Seine River. And it's a very famous river. It's a beautiful mix of both scenery as well as industry. And that evening, as we cruise out on April 8th, we'll get a chance to see the city, both from our dinner as we're enjoying our meal in the dining room with big picture windows, as well. You might have some time on board on the top deck as we sail out to enjoy that view as well. We do a safety briefing on each of these cruises before we depart, and also get to do a great welcome drink and farewell dinner as well. So as we leave Paris, we'll work our way up to Auvers-sur-Oise, and this is where Vincent van Gogh lived his final years. So he is buried in the town cemetery, and we'll get to see his gravesite along with his brothers. And he lived in the top of this little cafe on the left-hand side. That's the Auberge Revue. So he had a little apartment. We'll get to see that on the tour as well. And this is a walking tour with a local guide. And throughout the city, you'll also see a number of sites that he painted himself. So you'll get to see the main architecture in the building right next to a clipboard or a sign of his painting. So you get to see his interpretation. And it's just a really unique opportunity there. Then we make our move to a large city, and that is Rouen. And it has all sorts of great half-timbered homes and buildings and shops and restaurants, along with this incredible astronomical clock pictured in the upper left-hand side. And the town itself sits right on the river, so we dock right in town, and we're able to walk right off the ship into the city with our local guide to start our walking tour. Now, this is also the hub or the center of where Joan of Arc was buried, burned at the stake. So we'll learn that history and get to see both the historical cathedral as well as the more modern cathedral dedicated to Joan of Arc and its beautiful stained glass windows. Then again, we'll head out to the coastline, out to Normandy from our base in Le Havre, and that's a major port city, out to Étretat. And this is one of my favorite stops along the way, getting to see these beautiful cliffs, these archways over the Atlantic Ocean, as well the beach itself and the little town that's on the interior. To the left, you have a big golf course that leads up to the cliffside, and to the right, a little chapel up on the hill. But there are also still World War II bunkers built into the cliffside there, so that's really interesting to see. And within the town, it's a great place to grab a baguette, a snack, or a coffee, and relax and look out over the ocean. At that morning, we also do an optional tour out to Honfleur, and that's generally on a Saturday, and we've timed that up to visit the farmers market in the city, and that has all sorts of great specialties. So Honfleur is an optional tour, but we get to do a walking tour throughout the city, get to learn about some of the Viking history in the Norman region, as well as seeing one of the beautiful old churches dating back to the mid-teens, so around 15 or 1600. Surrounding the harbor itself are all sorts of great shops and restaurants, some great chocolates. You can get omelets and all those great French specialties there. So it's a really wonderful place to visit. One of the most impactful parts of this cruise is getting to see the D-Day beaches and the American cemetery at Normandy. We'll start this experience, and it is a full-day tour, by visiting Pont du Hoc, and that's pictured in the upper right-hand corner. So you'll see all the big craters from the bombs that were dropped on the bunkers prior to the Americans landing. As the Americans landed, they scaled 100-foot cliffs to destroy these German batteries that many of which still remained after the bombing. So we'll get to learn all about that. We'll see some of the bunkers in person. There are a couple you can actually go into. And then we'll work our way over to Omaha Beach. And that was one of 2 beachheads that the Americans landed at. That's pictured in the bottom right in its historical preference. So we'll see the beach. We'll get a chance to walk out on the sand itself. And then we head out for lunch within that area and get to enjoy a great meal before continuing on that day's tour. We visit a great museum that tells the history of the battle itself that both lasted on the beach as well as the interior parts of Normandy. And then getting to see the American cemetery is probably one of the most impactful parts of this whole day. And it really is amazing to see all these gravestones of Americans buried in France after the battle. Over 9,000 servicemen from the U.S. Buried on site. And this is maintained by the U.S. military under a certain commission. So it's really impressive to learn about each individual story. As we work our way back down the river, we'll stop in Les Andelys, and it's a beautiful little town that will work our way over to the area of Giverny, and that is where Monet's house and gardens are. So the house itself is pictured on the left-hand side. We'll start out by walking through the garden area, and it is so extensive. The entryway to the house is pictured on the right-hand side. These great overlying hanging areas as well. All sorts of fantastic bridges and waters, ponds, and a great diversity of plant life within this area. Not only do we offer the April 7th departure, we also offer an October departure. I believe it's October 6th for 2026. So 2 great departures available. The April 7th is filling up. And as we leave Giverny and Monet's house, which has all sorts of great artworks on the interior, we'll head back into Paris. And we'll do a full city tour of Paris, getting to see the Eiffel Tower. We'll see the Louvre and the Notre Dame, which is finally opened back up again. And we also offer a 2-night extension on this program, and that takes us by high-speed rail to London for 2 nights. So it's a really wonderful program that includes a city tour of London and 2 great hotel nights in the Kensington area. Getting into another April departure, this is Holland Windmills, Waterways, and Tulips, and this is a great combination of both the Netherlands and Belgium. So we'll combine both countries. We'll start out with a flight into Amsterdam, and that's where we depart from as well. So as we arrive, we'll do a city tour and canal cruise on this. We'll get a chance to go out to Zanzeskans, which is a beautiful Dutch village, and then make our way down to Arnhem, and I'll walk you through this entire program. So April 13th is our first departure. The suites are sold out for both departures, April 13th and 20th, and Category E is sold out for April 13th. The other cabin categories still have remaining space, but they are going quick. So please don't wait if you're interested in this program. April 20th also has Deborah Howard. If you'd like to travel with her, she'll be leading that departure. So we'll start out in Amsterdam, the beautiful city built on canals. It's an amazing surrounding area and also has all sorts of fresh flowers during that April season. We'll get a chance to tour the area by canal cruise. Then we make our way out to the little area of Zanzeskans. And this is a great Dutch experience because it combines the windmills, the tulips, as well as all sorts of different waterways. It's got a clog factory as well as a little bakery on site. So it's a really fun stop to make. You'll get to see the most of the Dutch experience here, and you'll see it along the tour as well. Our next stop is the town of Arnhem. And this is a very famous town for a major battle that took place after Normandy. And that's an area just south of Amsterdam as we work our way down south. It's kind of in the center of the country. And it's famous because this is the hub of the Operation Market Garden. And this bridge that's pictured on the upper right-hand corner is where we're close to docking. We're docked right next to it. And that was a photo from World War II. The Americans and British were tasked with holding that bridge as it crossed over the Rhine River, and it was a major entryway into Germany. So we'll get a chance to tour that area, tour the town, as well as see a World War II museum. And then from Arnhem, we'll work our way over to Middelburg, and this is a wonderful Dutch city as well. We'll get to see some amazing architecture with the city hall, as well the abbey that's pictured on the bottom left corner. And walking through the town with our local guide, you really get to feel what life is like in the Netherlands. It's a much more quiet and tamer area than Amsterdam, but a really fun city to explore. As we work our way into Belgium, one of our great optional tours that we have is to Ghent. And this is a great city built on canals and waterways as well. But one of the main attractions is going to the Ghent Cathedral and seeing a historic piece of art called the Ghent Altarpiece. This dates back to the 1400s, and it was a segment of 13 panels, all combined and held right at the front of the Ghent Cathedral. And so this was part of the Northern Renaissance in its construction and its designs, and valued today at about $35 million. So a really amazing piece. It was stolen over 12 times in its history, the last by the Nazis in 1943. And it was discovered in a salt mine by the Monuments Men in 1945. So really incredible to see these items restored. Then one of my favorite cities in all of Europe is Bruges. And if you've seen the movie In Bruges, you know the scene of the main market square. And that is surrounded by all sorts of great shops and restaurants. And there I am eating a great Belgian waffle. If you know me, you know I like food. So Belgian waffles, Belgian beer, everything you could ask for, and Belgian chocolates as well. So that's available all throughout town. And this is known as Venice of the North, as it is built on waterways and canals, and it's such a beautiful surrounding area. You can see some of the swans nearby the entryway to the city. And then working our way into the city center with our local guide, you'll get some great details about the area, and we'll have a little bit of free time to explore as well. One of the coastal harbor towns is the city of Antwerp. And this is a great town, especially during the April timeframe, as they do have all sorts of flower displays out and about. We'll do a walking tour here. We also get the chance to learn about the diamond trade, as that's a main focus of this city and some of the wealth that came in. So it's a really fun city tour that we incorporate in Antwerp. But really one of the biggest highlights on this program is the Keukenhof Gardens, and getting a chance to tour the gardens themselves. It is acres on acres of tulips, as well as other species of plants. They have a petting zoo as well, just such an incredible landscape garden and design. So we'll spend a solid several hours here getting to see all the different tulips. And of course, they have a gift shop if you're into flowers. So this one, again, April 13th and April 20th. We do have an extension to Haarlem at the end. That's a 2-night extension in the city of Amsterdam, and we do a city tour of Haarlem. We'll come back to Amsterdam and also get a chance to see the Rijksmuseum. And that is famous for all sorts of different art, both Northern Renaissance as well as other time frames. Into the fall, we go with our October departures of Wonders of the Blue Danube. And these go both directions, so from west to east and east to west, starting in Passau and heading to Budapest, or the opposite direction. October 10th will be with Chris McCool. And so if you enjoy traveling with him, he'll be leading that departure. And this is on the Amadeus Nova. This is a brand new ship launched in 2024, a wonderful vessel that I got to be a part of the inauguration of. And what we'll do on board this ship is work our way from Budapest to Regensburg and in reverse as well. So this is the Amadeus Nova back last year, about April. Got a chance to christen this and take it out to sea for the first time with the group. And it was just such a lovely opportunity to be on board, see the modern designs of this ship as well, because they are very different in each class of ship. But they are coming out with more and more new ships with the Amadeus fleet. And this is one of the great opportunities to travel on board a newer ship. So what we have available is our same categories in the suites, A, B, C, which are all those sliding windows that open up to fresh air. And then categories E and D are also those picture windows, the fixed windows up above in the lower cabins. And the suites, again, are the first ones to sell out. That first departure of October 10th is already selling really, really quickly. We have about 25 passengers already booked on this program, so the cabin categories will go quickly. This is the lounge space. It's got a wonderful bar and restaurant. This is the Amadeus Club in the back of the ship. So plenty of seating area. It's a nice quiet area to go and read a book or to grab a drink. They have beer and wine on draft there. And then on the top deck, they have all sorts of great activities on board this ship. Being that it is newer, they incorporated a small infinity pool in the back end of the top deck, so you can go dip yourself in the water. They also have a putting green, shuffleboard, and all sorts of extended seating areas. So on a really nice day, it's the best place to be, getting to enjoy that experience, the cruising, the scenery, as well having a glass of wine while you travel. Heading off, we'll visit Budapest, and this is an incredible city that we'll get to tour with a local guide, see the Parliament building there, and working our way through the city center. We'll see both sides of the river, the castle up on the hillside, as well as the main downtown area. And then from there, we'll also continue out to Bratislava. And this is one of my favorite little towns that I had zero expectations for going in. But getting to see the castle up on the hillside, as well as the old town with all its great shops and restaurants in the city center, really brought this town to life, both its Eastern European heritage as well, just the openness of the opportunity to travel here. It's a wonderful area, a great city to explore, and also great to get a chance to travel with a group there. From Bratislava, we'll head into Vienna, and Vienna is a magical city known for its classical music. We'll get a chance to tour the city and see the main cathedral, which is in the backdrop here. You can see its designed roof with the zigzag pattern on top there. And we'll get a chance to see the cathedral along with the opera house on the tour. And then as we continue up the river, we'll also stop at Melk. And Melk's Abbey is an incredible location. I think its library is one of the largest I've ever seen. Just incredible book after book and a really ornate design both on the ceiling as well as on the interior. So we'll tour the Abbey dating back to the 1700s. We also work our way on an optional tour, optional extension on this program out to Prague. And Prague is an incredible city in its own right. We'll go from Regensburg to Prague by motor coach, and we do a 2-night stay in the city center. On the extension, we do a Czech lunch, and that incorporates a Pilsner beer, as Pilsner is a specialty of the Czech Republic. And then we do a city tour that features the castle, the famous Charles Bridge, which is pictured in the right-hand corner, and then St. Vitus Square and Cathedral. And it's famous for a huge clock tower in the city center, but all sorts of great shops and restaurants throughout the main square there. And again, some free time as well as that city tour, and we also incorporate the Jewish quarter, getting to learn about the Jewish background within the city. So again, this one heads out October 10th and 17th of 2026. And the last two programs I'll go through are Switzerland and Christmas Markets on the Rhine. A similar program to the Rhine and the Holland windmills, with the exception of being at the holiday time, you get to see the light displays. You also incorporate so many fantastic Christmas markets on this cruise. And so we start this program by flying into Zurich. And so we'll start south to north. We arrive and head straight out to Lucerne in Switzerland, and that's a 1-night hotel stay. So we'll get a chance the following morning to do a city tour with the local guide, and then some free time for the Christmas market there. From Lucerne, we'll head up to Strasbourg, do that city tour, and some time at the Christmas markets. And in the bigger cities, they have multiple markets in different parts of town, so you can explore a couple of them while we're in Strasbourg. The main one's usually right next to the cathedral, and then within a couple of blocks, there's another easily walkable Christmas market with different items. From there, we'll be up to Speyer, and Speyer has some great walking aspects to it, along with the Christmas market, and then Rudesheim. Now, in Rudesheim, we have an optional tour to the Music Museum. You can walk around and explore the Christmas market on your own if you wanted to do it that way. And then off into Koblenz. Again, that's the tip of the two rivers, the Moselle and the Rhine. and that's where we'll also get a chance to do a Christmas market at night. It's a little bit different experience getting to see all the lights in full display. We'll incorporate a stop in Kokum, again, the city tour, the walking tour, and Reichsburg Castle, along with the Christmas market there. And then heading off into Cologne. And Cologne's our final stop on this program. We get a chance to do a walking tour through Old Town in Cologne. We also head off to the cathedral, and that took several hundred years to build. So it's a really unique, major cathedral in Europe and a really incredible stop. And then we fly out the following morning out of Frankfurt. So we depart out of Frankfurt usually after about 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. And it's just a wonderful cruise getting to incorporate these great Christmas markets. The last program I'll talk about is our Vienna and Christmas Markets of the Danube. And this one heads off December 10th of 2026. And we'll be on board the Amadeus Imperial, which launched in 2020 or 2021 based on the pandemic and all the activities that happened there. So 6 nights aboard the beautiful vessel. I was able to board that ship as well and sail on it several years ago and absolutely love it as well. We do on this program a little bit differently from the past cruises. And this is actually going to start in Vienna. And we fly in and do 1 night in a hotel in the city center of Vienna. We'll incorporate a city tour as well as a Christmas market. And then we'll drive out to Bratislava. And that's a pretty short drive. It's about 45 minutes to an hour out to Bratislava from Vienna. We'll do a city tour there and get to enjoy the Christmas market. And that is just an absolutely special experience in the city square. It's something I haven't even gotten a chance to do for the Christmas time frame. But I love the city center itself and the big public square with all its great restaurants and shopping and the castle in the backdrop. So many great vendors with all sorts of unique items, specifically from Slovakia. So it's a wonderful stop we make there. And then we board the ship, the MS Imperial, back in Vienna that day, and we work our way up the river to the north. So day 4 is a city tour. We get a chance to see the different city center areas, including the Opera House. And then we also offer an optional to Schönbrunn Palace, the home of the Habsburg dynasty. Day 5, we work our way over to Melk Abbey, and we do a tour of the abbey itself. Again, this area is decorated for the holidays, and we also do a Glühwein tasting that afternoon. So we'll head off from the abbey after our tour down to a little cafe and get to try some Glühwein, which is a specialty item for the holidays. It's mulled red wine and a fantastic treat. That afternoon, we'll cruise up to Passau in Germany. And so we'll get a chance to, if you want to, enjoy the cruising experience out on deck or take a little rest and sleep in a little bit in the afternoon, take an afternoon nap. There's a lot of scenery on this stretch as well, though, so I highly recommend being out and about. Day 6 is an optional tour. So you can either stay in Passau for a little while and explore, getting a chance to walk around the small town there, or head out on a full-day excursion out to Salzburg. And this provides a great enriching experience to learn about the sound of music, as much of that was filmed there. We'll see the Dom Cathedral, as well the Mirabell Gardens. And so we'll do a walking tour through all of that. We also incorporate the Christmas markets in Salzburg, and there's about 2 or 3 right in that main center there, easily walkable between the two. So it's a really fun, full day of experience. And then we head back to meet the ship. Day 7 is a visit to Regensburg, and this is a fantastic city with the UNESCO World Heritage Site as part of its Old Town. So amazing architecture there dating back to the 1700s, and we'll do a walking tour with the guide there. And then we celebrate each cruise with a fantastic gala farewell dinner. And the chefs and the entire staff really go above and beyond to make this meal special. Both the welcome dinner and the farewell dinner are a little bit more elaborate with some extra courses and really specialty items. So it's a lot of fun. Get a little bit dressier on this night, but most of the experience is very, very casual. We cruise along the passage of the Continental Divide, and then we wrap up with a city tour and Christmas market in Nuremberg. And Nuremberg's a wonderful city, very decorative, especially during the holidays, and we'll see all those beautiful half-timbered houses and shops. And then we work our way to the Christmas market in Nuremberg before we head out. And we'll fly out of Munich on this program. So Vienna to Munich. Really great cities to explore on this cruise, especially with the Christmas market season. Now, we still have a lot of 2025 departures available as well, many of which are small group tours. And these are guaranteed departures ready to go out the door with smaller group sizes than normal, so in the 20s and low 30s, but really great opportunities to travel with smaller groups and get to see these sites a little bit easier. So whether it's the Best of Chicago in September, Venice and the Italian Lakes October 8th, every one of these programs is smaller in size and a really fun way to travel and get to see the world. Best of Australia and New Zealand's a fantastic 17-day program, because if you're going to go that far, you may as well experience all of it. And we do both islands of New Zealand on that one. Croatia and Slovenia, heading out October 14th, also gets to see Ljubljana in Slovenia, Lake Bled, as well as the main cities of Dubrovnik, Zadar, and Split. So fantastic trips going out. We also have a couple of specials. We're offering a $250 deposit special up until the end of the month for new 2025 bookings. And then if you do book a small group tour before the end of the month, before the 31st, we do have that low risk deposit. So risk-free overall. So some of the specials for new bookings, again, I mentioned that low risk deposit for 2025. We also, if you do book by Friday, August 1st, offer a $299 deposit for those 2026 programs. Our one cabin category upgrade, which saves between $200 and $400 per person on the remaining 2025 and 2026 river cruises. And how that works is you would book a lower category and be upgraded to the category above it. So you pay the lower price, again, those savings, $200 to $400 per person, and getting a better cabin category, better spacing in the cabin, as well as better location on the ship. I usually recommend people booking the category D and getting upgraded to C or B to A. The only categories that don't apply are the suites, so you can't get upgraded to the suites, but any of those categories from E through A are upgradable. Use the code SMALLSHIP by Friday, August 1st for those to apply. And then how to book, you can call our 1-800-369-3693 office number, talk to Joe, Holly, April, or Sam, and get yourself a booking on any of these great departures. Again, the ships, the river cruises are limited in spacing, up to about 150 people, and many of which have already started selling and filling up. So please don't wait if those cruises are interesting to you, as they will fill up. You may miss out on your cabin category of choice, so don't wait. You can also visit our website, afcvacations.com, and see the forms section to fill out a reservation form. And from all of us at AFC, we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for logging in and joining us today. If you do have any feedback about new destinations, information you'd like to see in an upcoming show, please reach out to April at afctours.com. Thank you all, and we look forward to traveling with you.